Hey there. Today is going to be an exciting day and I am looking forward to sharing it with you. So come on into the van and I will tell you what's up. Well, I am here in Florida spending some time with my parents, and I'm going to make the big step today of changing my domicile to Florida. So I'm getting ready to go get my driver's license, get my car tags, all that good stuff. And I thought it would be a great time to share with you a little bit of information about what domicile is and why it matters if you're doing van life full time. If you've been living in one place for a long time, you probably haven't thought much about the differences that might exist between your home address, where you live, and what is called legally domicile. Domicile is your legal permanent address. And it doesn't have to be the same place that you are staying. It doesn't have to be the same place that you get your mail, but it is your legal address. So for tax purposes, for things like car registration, your driver's license, your medical insurance, which is a big deal, you need to have a domicile and be able to specify an address where you are legally residing. So in my case, I am going to be using my brother's house, and since I started van life a year and a half ago, I gave up my lease in my apartment, and so I had a friend who was kind enough to let me use her address as my domicile, and she received all my mail, and when she had things for me, I would either stop by and pick them up if I was passing through town, or she could bundle them up and send them to me wherever I was. There are also services that you can use for this, and unfortunately I can't speak to how good they are because I have never tried one, but I can provide some links down below for you so you can check those out on your own. Now, when van lifers and full-time RVers and other people are thinking about where to establish their domicile, one thing that comes to mind is states that have no income tax. They're very popular, particularly Texas, South Dakota, and Florida, because it's relatively easy to establish domicile in those states. Alaska, Wyoming, Tennessee, and Nevada also have no state income tax, but those things may change. There may be local taxes, county taxes, things like that that you need to consider. So if you're thinking about changing your domicile to any of those states for the tax benefits, I would highly encourage you to do your research and make sure you know what the laws are in that area before you make the change. In my case, I chose Florida because this is my home state. I grew up here literally just down the street from where I am now, and I am at my parents' house on the water, which is beautiful. And I have been spending more and more time with them as they get older and age in place. So that is a tremendous benefit to me of being able to do van life full time and work remotely. But I chose my brother's house, which is a little ways away. It's in Brooksville because he's got plenty of space. I can park the van there. It's easy for him to get my mail. I can come and go really without disrupting him very much when I need a place to just kind of land. So I am going to be a resident of Hernando County, which I'm excited about. And I have not lived in Florida since I was in my mid-20s when my oldest daughter was born. So it feels like a special kind of homecoming for me to be coming back to this state. And as I mentioned, it is relatively easy to establish domicile here, but some things you need to know: when you're getting your driver's license, you actually do have to prove not only your address, so you have to have some mail like bank statements and things like that that have been sent to your new domicile address, and also, you need to prove who you are. So you need a social security card or your passport and other information to validate before you can just walk into the driver's license office and get a license. The county where I am going to requires an appointment for out of state, so I had to make that a couple of weeks ago. And then I also had to make an appointment to get my vehicles registered. And I own not only this lovely van that I adore, but also a Subaru, which is in Colorado right now with Andy. So we ran into a little blip because Florida requires a VIN verification. You have to prove that the VIN is the correct one for the car that you're trying to register. So we had to get that done by a law enforcement officer in Colorado, and I have that paperwork with me. And then of course I'll have the van with me, and it can be verified when I actually go to the tag office today. So those are some big things. The other thing that is important is of course changing your address everywhere, which is not an easy thing to do. I started that process a couple of weeks ago and contacted all my banks and investment accounts, things like that, my credit cards, all of those things, so that they could have my address changed before I actually made the official move of domicile down here to Florida. I don't have many things left in Atlanta other than some wonderful friends. However, I do still have a safe deposit box there that I'm going to close out actually when Andy and I go and empty out our storage units and move our property out of Atlanta. But things that are key indicators of domicile are things like spending time in the state. Some states require you to be there for a certain period of time. Sorry, there's lots of lots of birds out this morning, which is one of the things I love about this area. But anyway, so yeah, you'll have to be able to show that you have been in the state or testify that you have been in the state for a certain period of time to make sure that it is a legitimate domicile. And so that's a consideration. For Florida, I don't believe they have a residency requirement, but you do have to register your vehicles and get your license, I think, within 30 days. So check the local regulations on things like that. Now, I did speak to somebody who's a full-time RVer who did their domicile in South Dakota, and they said it was really easy. They just had to spend one night in the state and they could get everything done. So that was great for them. But like I said, depending on where you choose, you're going to want to make sure you know what the laws are in that area. It's great if you can have a friend get your mail, or a family member, or a place that you are passing through, or you're willing to spend time on a fairly regular basis, you know, as you kind of come and go across the country or wherever your travels take you. And then also, if that doesn't work, you can pay a service. Some of them will actually open your mail and scan it for you and let you know what's coming, and then you can tell them, okay, I need you to forward this to me, or you can just shred it, things like that. So that's very helpful. But honestly, I don't get very much mail. Almost everything I do is electronic these days, so it's pretty easy for me, not going to be a burden on my brother. Although with the address change, he did text me one day and say, hey, you're getting more mail than I get. So that's because address changes create a flurry of confirmations and things like that. So that's all been done, and like I said, I'm excited to head out today, get my new driver's license, get my new car tags, and officially be a resident of my home state once again.